Welcome back to the Unbiased Opinion, where everyone's opinion is biased except ours. Colin?
I'm Craig.
My God,
And I'm the Incredible Nightcrawler.
don't do that terrible accent again. We're continuing our talk of the
Like to see you do
X-Men
better.
movies. I can. I know my place. We're continuing our talk of the X-Men movies. We talked about the first X-Men from 2000 last week, and now this time we are covering X2, or where it's also called X2 X-Men United, which came out in 2003. With all that being said, I think it's also important to note that this is usually regarded as one of the better X-Men movies. And with that being said, what did you guys think of X2 or X2 X-Men United?
I'll give you my opinion, but first to defend Daniel, his accent is better than Storm's.
That's not a high bar.
But I liked it. It's a good movie. Again,
Okay.
it's kind of I wouldn't say nostalgic, but it's like fun going back to some of these older movies with just actual sets and actual stunts, actual people talking together instead of just like a green screening two scenes together.
Actual explosions. But yeah, no, I agree with Craig. I definitely enjoyed this one more than the first one. Like re-looking back. But it's a good movie.
I liked it too, and even if at times it feels way overstuffed with its cast, because there are too many characters, and I guess you could say that's always been a problem of the X-Men, is that there's just way too many people to care about or to give more focus to. And
I
of
mean, in
course,
their defense, it's probably because there's like a million X-Men comic characters, and they're trying to give
yeah, yeah. And
spread the love around.
I was gonna say, Cyclops is another casualty of that, where I think so. I actually did more trivia reading on this one than I did on the first one. And they rewrote some parts that were for Cyclops and they gave it to Storm because Halle Berry won an Oscar for Monsters Ball, which came out in 2001. So the geniuses at Fox, and they've always been such geniuses, decided to have more scenes of Halle Berry, even though she's always been pretty terrible as Storm. It's just so mind-boggling.
Well, what scenes were they rewriting? 'Cause I don't know about that.
I think Cyclops, for the most part, wasn't going to get incapacitated. Because Cyclops disappears for like an hour in the movie. Because he's with Xavier when they go to meet Magneto. Which, by the way, that whole Magneto sequence, I guess we'll talk about in a little bit. Stuff we liked, stuff we didn't like, but that whole Magneto sequence where he escapes was awesome.
Oh yeah. That was definitely one of my favorite parts of the movie.
Well,
Yeah.
it's funny how Magneto he has these almost quips, but he I don't know, it doesn't come off as like they do now in the
Doesn't
modern
feel
Marvel
smug.
movies. I mean, he's a little smug, but it doesn't come off as fake or annoying or like takes away from the scene. Like you could see, like yeah, he gets like confident because he senses the metal immediately, like rips it out of him. Too much iron in the blood.
Well, I just like he like doubles down on the insult. The guy goes, "Never trust a pretty woman, especially one that's interested in you." They just killed him.
I mean, maybe just he's a better actor, but I don't know. It doesn't come off as annoying as modern Marvel movies. Or maybe it's not the smugness. Maybe he just has absolute like confidence because he is the most like one of those powerful mutants. And look, all it took is like three tiny balls of metal, and he escaped a supermax prison.
I wouldn't want to mess with him.
Oh yeah, there's a reason why you have to. I mean, they should have just killed him, but
Yeah, he's the kind of person that it's like the Batman and Joker. I don't want to say paradox, but Batman essentially enables Joker to run around and kill more people because of his stupid code. And it's
well, I
like
was gonna
you're
say just for the
just as
fact that how
bad.
do you keep him in prison?
Oh well, yeah, that too.
Because even in Days of Future Past, again, like all it takes is not a lot to get him out of there.
I mean, at least for like Xavier not wanting to kill Magneto, they are old friends and they go way back. They're at least like Batman has nothing to owe Joker to even try to redeem him or like not kill him.
Yeah, also I was thinking more from the government perspective. Like, okay, he's obviously a criminal, tried, convicted. When you put him in a comfy jail, I wonder how do you even go to trial? I mean, you can't
Uh,
have him in a courtroom. I mean, this is I know a tangent, but
Okay, so I'm doing a little bit more reading, and there was more development on Cyclops and Professor X being brainwashed by Stryker. The scenes were shot, but Fox cut them out because of time and length and story complications. Hater, which is one of the screenwriters, was disappointed, feeling that James Marsden deserved more screen time. And of
Well, he
course,
does.
that more
But
screen time was given
did
to
the,
Halle Berry.
Cyclops is the leader of the X-Men. Of course, the leader should get more screen
Colin,
time
are
than.
these aliases that you have really just you wanted more Cyclops?
I think that's a unanimous opinion that everybody wanted
Oh
more
yeah,
Cyclops.
I forgot. Like I did forget how like tremendously sidelined he was in this movie. Well, you can't even say he was just taken out. Like he was cut from the team essentially.
Oh, I
Because
also. You continue. Sorry, sorry.
no, because I was just gonna say it's not even like like he's in the scenes, but yeah, he's not talking, but he's in the scenes. Like he at least is there, and like even if he's not saying anything, but like shooting his lasers, but he's just not like just gone.
MIA. He's not. He's on the cartons of milk. Look, people were looking for him.
So I read that in the scene where before when Charles goes into that trap set by Stryker and him and Cyclops get incapacitated, James Marsden had to ask for a quick little fight scene. They didn't give him that little scene where he punches like two guys. He had to ask
Really?
for that, which
It,
it's just so disrespectful that they didn't even think to add that to
I
begin
mean,
with.
well, it's just like, but like, why is
that's
he the
crazy.
sacrificial character? Like the big, like one of the biggest X-Men. Like, why are you giving more screen time to Pyro and
And
Bobby
Iceman,
and
yeah.
Rogue? Like Rogue, okay, Rogue makes sense because you're trying to continue that relationship between her and Logan. That's fine. But like,
I don't know. They feel like
Pyro.
her story's done.
Yeah, honestly, they could have just like her, Bobby, and Pyro left with the rest of them with Colossus, and then it focuses on like Xavier and Cyclops getting out of their torture, and then Logan reuniting with Storm,
I, I
Jean,
I
and
did get a
Nightcrawler.
chuckle though when Lady Deathstrike shoots Cyclops and he just blasts her. Because in my mind, that is like if it was, I guess you could say comic accurate, he would have like blown her out of the room and he would have just annihilated those guards.
Yeah.
That just made me chuckle because he even hesitate to blast her.
Well, comedic where like you get like a stung or something, you hit just a tiny bit, and you get blown out of the building. Such an over excessive use of. I mean, I wouldn't say excessive use of force, but it feels like that.
Yeah, it just made me chuckle. And then he gets
That's,
taken
that's,
out like a punk.
but that's still crazy how they had to add the. So what was the original plan? He just gets
I
knocked out by
think,
the
yeah, I think
gas,
she
or
just shows up and then she just knocks him out.
The original plan was not to bring back Cyclops at all.
Yeah, honestly.
that's crazy.
They just have a stick figure with a cutout of James Marsden's head.
It's like the Ned's declassified out the cardboard cutouts of
Oh
people.
yeah, like the life-size cutouts.
Funny, but like it would have been so disrespectful. You imagine like it opens up this movie with just like Cyclops' unexplained death, like a funeral for him.
No, not that you talk about, I guess, silent or unexplored things. Now, I was rewatching this. I kind of wondered what happened to the children that Colossus was leading away. I mean, not that it matters. Like, where'd they go?
I think they
Like,
just
I think
went
it's.
maybe to a off the books safe area.
I mean, not that it matters too much. I was wondering, like, where did they go? I mean, like a bunch of kids and this grown, like, bodybuilder running around.
Non-Russian
In his
bodybuilder.
underwear. What are they? What is Bryan Singer implying there, Colin?
I don't know, and I don't want to know.
Well, just it's one of those things where you could just show like a quick scene where Colossus was hiding.
Or it would have made more sense to give Colossus screen time with Wolverine than having him run off with these teens.
Well, I understand trying to give screen time to Iceman because he is one of the original X-Men. And Pyro, there is a payoff in the next movie, but I just think Rogue's the kind of odd one out because she doesn't do anything.
She
I mean,
flies the jet at the very end.
yeah, which is so important.
Yeah,
Well, because I feel like her
honestly,
story's
Rogue was
done.
kind of useless.
With her
Well, yeah, her
inconsistent
story's
Southern
done.
accent.
Yeah, even the third one, I mean, we're
She
looking
was
ahead.
another one too. Her accent fell off. It was highly inconsistent this movie.
Which, considering, I feel like for Americans, the Southern accent's the easiest one to do.
Yeah.
Tough scene. But again, like her story, it doesn't even go anywhere in the third one.
It's just like
I don't know. You didn't
I
have
don't
to
I
have
don't
her.
I don't care that her and Bobby can't get intimate because she can't touch people. Like
It was
like
established in the first one.
yeah. Like you don't need to keep playing on that.
It was
Like just
established in the first one when she almost killed the first boyfriend, so it's not needed.
yeah.
Also,
It,
I was
and it
thinking
just
about
takes
this too,
oh
about doing
well
Cyclops dirty. Not to beat you while you're down, Colin, but also Jean Grey like admitting she loves Wolverine. It's
Yeah,
kind of
that
weird.
must be again, like I guess that's in the comics. I don't know. I don't claim to be
Well,
a X-Men expert, but you guys
well,
are saying that's in the comics, right?
well, she was a bit of a flirt, but also in the comics, I mean, every character is dated like every single other person, so it doesn't mean much either. Like, I think Cyclops has married her, divorced her, married someone else, divorced that person. I think he married her clone and
Oh my
divorced her. I mean, people
God.
go through when, yeah, these relationships aren't don't last in comics. That's not the issue. It's in the movies, it should be a little more consistent.
yeah.
And I don't know, like she admits her love to Wolverine, and she's known him for what, like a few months.
I was gonna say, what was the time gap between the first and second one?
I had to be only a few months because Wolverine goes to Canada and comes back. I mean, he couldn't have gone that long. Plus, too, these kids are in school, high school. They could have been like 3 or 4 years, otherwise they would have graduated.
That's also very true.
Yeah, so again, really kicking Cyclops while he's down. He loses his girl, loses his team leader,
This is his
loses
So
his
they said
lines.
also
lines.
the Danger Room was gonna be in this movie, and they built an actual set for it, but then they scrapped it. Do you know what the
Sounds like,
Danger Room is?
That's their training room.
Colin, you're talking to us.
Oh, okay. Oh, that's in the third movie. Okay,
Yeah,
okay.
that's
Well, not
and
just
that's
that, but it's in like all
the
like the games we
comics.
played. Yeah, the
Yeah, the
Oh,
comics, the
games,
games.
TV shows have had it. Yeah, it's their training room.
okay, okay. Did
That's
not
where
know
like you
that.
see like in the comics or in the games like when they fight the Sentinels.
Did you know what it was?
I knew of the room. I didn't know it was called the Danger Room.
Oh,
Like I knew, obviously, because I said it was in the third one, so I knew what it is.
I don't know. You're asking us what it is, so
Because they said
get
that
me
was going
nervous
to
about
be
it.
in this movie, but they cut it. Of course, it's just like what's so mind-boggling reading about this stuff is like the reading about the production of this movie just sounds like a complete disaster, but they actually made a pretty good movie despite all of the stuff that they had to go through to make it.
Well, yeah, I guess sometimes you get lucky.
So what did you like most about the movie, Colin?
I thought it was. I liked Stryker's plan. I thought that was all interesting when he brought his son in.
Yeah, that was like
My son is dead.
I forgot what to see. Like one, the casting on that guy like was spot on because he was unnerving, and he's just like staring and breathing at Charles Xavier. It'd been funny if they didn't even tell Patrick Stewart this was a scene. Just put him in a chair to stare across the sky. It was just like, but like with Stryker, like he was like a normal like you know what it is with like villains like that. I guess it wasn't like tiresome. Like he was just like a normal bad guy. Like he had, oh, no, he was simple. Like he had his plan, he executed it, he had conviction. I mean, even to the lengths where he's like, my son's dead, and it's like has mind control on his son just to mess with people's minds.
See, I think also to build off of that, what's annoying with the modern superhero movies is that they always try to make the superhero villain or the villain just like, oh, he's charismatic, he's got a devilish tongue, and Stryker in this one's just like pure evil. Like,
Or in Loki's case, he's really the good guy.
Well, yeah, they also have to give these guys sympathetic
yeah,
backstories
there's none of that.
because,
Stryker just wants to kill all the mutants,
yeah.
and he doesn't care, and he wants to use his son, which he's experimented on, and his experiments from what the movie said put him in that state. and he wants to use his son to manipulate Charles to kill all the mutants.
Well, so
Because
the
it's
way
like,
they gave us some motivation, all it took was one scene. He said, he could put pictures in your mind, and he got my wife to kill herself because like evil my son is. So it's like, well, now I hate mutants for what he did to my family. I'm gonna kill all the mutants. That's it.
yeah,
Which
there's
you could say it's kind of sympathetic, but it's also very simple to the point, and he's dangerous too. Him and his crew. It's kind of funny how like just a bunch of like military men took out all the X-Men in the mansion. You'd think there'd be a little more security.
that scene where like the little kids walking up, hi, just get shot in the throat.
And of
What
course,
was
I
the
did.
Lady Deathstrike fight was a little fun too, where she fights
Especially when
Wolverine.
she gets under the water and just keeps stabbing him repeatedly.
See, no, this also crossed my mind when I was watching that fight scene. A lot of man children always have to say that those fight scenes don't do Wolverine justice because body parts aren't flying, blood's not flying. It's just really weird. Like you can have him fight people without limbs flying everywhere. Like we've seen him fight in two straight movies, and I don't think people would complain that it's not real Wolverine. Like he's killing people, just body parts aren't flying. The gratuitous CGI blood everywhere.
Well, those man children do need that, Craig.
I don't know, like they say, like, oh, we've never had a true Wolverine fight scene before. It's like I don't
That's
know what
such
you're
an
talking
odd
about.
Well,
thing to want,
but,
like a fight
but
scene, not
that's
even
but
like
see,
a
but that's more.
characterization or movie, a fight
But,
scene.
but I feel like but that's more something that would belong in modern comics. Like modern comics have gotten, I feel like, gruesome. But like, I mean, if you're a fan of Wolverine originally, like I doubt like the '70s, comics were going to be gruesome.
Well, that's
Like
that's the thing I was going to say too. I mean, where are they pulling this from in the comics too?
it
Because
has to be
you read
modern comics.
anything, people don't read modern comics. But you read anything Wolverine is in. I mean, body parts aren't flying unless you're reading that Garth Ennis comic. I think that Wolverine, he wrote for Wolverine. Otherwise, it's just like PG-13 stuff, or he's cutting robots in half, and gratuitous robot parts are flying everywhere, which goes under the radar for ratings.
Like you don't have to show him cutting a man in 7 parts to show his ferocity. Like I think Hugh Jackman charging at them, or like that one part, I did laugh. Like the part where the military men like surrounded Bobby, Rogue, and Pyro, and Wolverine just lunges off the ledge out of nowhere, screaming like a madman.
See, I think it's like a disconnect because it's not like Cyclops' powers where it's just like a concussive explosion. Like his Wolverine's claws are violent and they'll cut people in half. You don't want to see that in a movie, really. Like only weirdos want to see that. Like you don't have to show excessive amount of gore and blood to have a fun action scene or be true to the character. Like him stabbing that you see him stab an army guy in the chest and kill him. Like
Well, that's my point. Like he is
yeah.
stabbing people and killing people. They act like he's just fighting, with his bare hands and not using his. I don't know. It's weird because I don't know. They have to have their CGI blood then because this movie they say, oh, it's for kids. I gotta have CGI blood because therefore it's adults and it's okay that I watch and enjoy it because they're very insecure about themselves.
Now with them petition Zack Snyder to make you a Wolverine prison movie. Go have fun.
Like, does anyone realize how gruesome Wolverine would be if he was in real life, running around severing limbs and cutting people's heads off? Like, that's not cool. That's disturbing.
Well, yeah, but it's just again, I think people need to. I don't know. It's very weird, and
Yeah, it kind of would be off-putting. Like he's trying to protect all these small children, and then he just decapitates and like severs people limb from limb
He
in
already
front of
killed a
them.
couple people in front of Bobby. Like,
well,
I
he's
know.
basically an adult. He's okay. He'll live.
yeah, imagine if those weirdos, if it was directed by those weirdos, he'd like cut a guy's arm off in front of Bobby, and the blood would have sprayed everywhere on top of Bobby's face. You have
No,
to get the
Colin,
blood
not in front
out.
of Bobby. I'm thinking more of like that kid that got shot first with the glasses. The kid's like 10.
Oh yeah, then
They
blood
want
would
to
get all
see
over that
Wolverine
kid.
come up behind and rip the guy's like spine out in front of
Yeah,
the kid,
bunch of
and then makes him
weirdos.
clip.
Like the Predator.
He like scalps a soldier in front of that
But,
kid.
Oh my
I
goodness.
did. I mean, I like that action scene, like Wolverine taking on the military guys. I thought that was fine. Like,
Oh yeah, I thought it was a fine scene too, like the fight with Lady Deathstrike, like that was all good stuff. It just
yeah.
because I remember I was reading like we just did Deadpool and Wolverine, and people were saying finally you get the real Wolverine, or like when they saw Logan, finally real Wolverine rated R. It's like what these fight scenes are, all of a sudden don't count. Just very weird, and I wanted to see my piece on it.
Guess not, Craig. I guess not.
But also too with the Deadpool Wolverine, like you can be a bit more like gruesome with when he's fighting Deadpool because the joke is kind of they can't kill each other.
Yeah, that too, but I don't know. They want to see limbs flying. A lot of man children. You hate
Uh,
to see it.
but I did like Colin, like I know you mentioned before, the Magneto scene was great. Him escaping,
Oh
just the
yeah.
little balls, and then he's just slowly walking.
Like it's funny too. He basically has his arms crossed and everything just flying around him. He's not really like. It looks like he's putting in no effort at all whatsoever to escape.
I
I was gonna say
also,
too. Another little Magneto moment, which I've always found funny, even to this day, is when it looks like Magneto and Mystique are gossiping to each other, and they go to Rogue and say, "We love what you've done with your hair," and they giggle to each other. Like it looks so petty and stupid, but it's just so funny.
I thought I liked I liked his the escape plan the Mystique laid out, that they worked on. Like just put like it was a cool little trick, like just putting an excessive amount of iron in the guy's blood, just enough for him to pull it out. It was clever.
Yeah, and you guy obviously the security guard let it pass. Like that's weird. You shouldn't have any iron in you.
I also one of my favorite scenes, like watching this when I was younger, was the opening scene with Nightcrawler.
Oh
I
yeah.
was like,
I mean, we didn't do our duty to talk about that because everyone says that's probably the best part of the movie. At least people online have always said that.
I like the addition of Nightcrawler. I thought they did a good job with him,
Yeah, he was
but
good. And it's a
it's
shame they turned him into some emo weirdo in the
oh, the
X-Men
newer ones.
Apocalypse. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, I feel like he got, shafted in those new ones, especially because like he's one of the more popular and unique ones. I feel like most people who follow it, like everyone, even just you know, Marvel fans would be aware of Nightcrawler. But yeah, no, I always loved that opening scene. What they call it, bamfing was the term for it. Is
For his
teleporting.
teleporting.
Yeah, because that's supposed to be the sound it makes when he teleports.
I remember get playing as him in Marvel Ultimate Alliance. It was always so much
Teleporting.
fun. And then
Those are some fun games. Also, I did like the scene he had with Storm, where Storm's basically saying how she's basically like she hates humans, and like you talking to Nightcrawler and saying, hate's not gonna really get you anywhere. You need to have a little more sympathy, a little more faith. Don't be so hateful all the time. It's not gonna get you anywhere.
yeah, oh, yeah, it's like I pity them. That was
Yeah.
cool.
It's just a
And then
nice little scene that you don't really see anymore these days.
yeah, there's actually some depth. And then
It wasn't undercut with a joke.
yeah. Well, like when I always like the scene with when him and Wolverine first meet. Who's this guy? The Incredible Kurt Wagner. The meaning says he used to call me Incredible Narco. Yes, save it.
I think that's definitely what's probably is refreshing about these older movies, older superhero movies, that there isn't constant jokes running around trying to undercut everything. Like it feels
Well,
nice that scenes just play out and there's just no joke to end the scene.
Well, it's
well,
serious. Like 'cause Nightcrawler was being serious when he said, like, I pity these people, but he has faith that things will get better
Well,
and
I'm
all
just
that
talking
stuff.
about in general too, because I
yeah.
know
Well,
if Kevin Feige was an executive producer, I don't know, Joss Whedon was writing and directing it, there would have been 100 jokes.
Well, I know, as I'm saying, like that scene was played for, not for laughs or anything. It was dead serious, and all the characters are being serious. Like it's just nice that the movie is taking itself seriously, not joking
yeah,
all the time.
yeah. Because
And not every character has to be a
even like
jokester.
the yes, save it. Like it doesn't take away from the scene because it's like one, it fits Wolverine's character, and it's also like yeah, we gotta go. Like I don't have time for this. I don't care. Like
Well, it's also in character too. He wasn't doing it to say
Yeah.
a joke. He was it's just how he is. He doesn't want to hear it.
And they had the in the opening scene, they had the little nod to the Registration Act.
Well,
They
it's the
mentioned
Mutant
that.
Registration Act.
Yeah, it's not the SRA, it's the MRA, the Mutant Registration Act.
Yeah, because this came out before that. Because that comic storyline what came out in '06.
Yeah, yeah, like '06, '07, I think.
Yeah, but we're time traveling, so it's a reference to the future while we're going back.
Future.
Don't think that's true. So we're talking about positives. What did you guys not like about the movie?
I was
Well,
gonna say this goes back to basically my complaint about the X-Men, where uh, they're trying to have their comparison to like their allegory. It just doesn't work at all. Like when her mom saying, "Have you tried not being a mutant?" It's like, okay, well, it's not the same. You can't compare it one to one.
well, I also
And
thought that that scene was extreme when like the brother like just immediately goes and calls the cops, like he's like angry.
yeah, basically the SWAT team comes.
Yeah, like your brother. It seemed like it from the pictures and everything. What they were alluding was like him and his family had a good relationship, and like it wasn't like Bobby was this troublemaker or whatever. Like it felt a bit extreme, like his brother just to go call the cops immediately.
Yeah, and the SWAT team comes and is ready to like kill with excessive force.
Well, also, I don't know if that scene is entirely necessary because it's like you don't need to like redrive the message of like mutants aren't accepted. You know, because you hinted at that like well, one the entire first movie, you know, the president assassination attempt, like it's already established mutants aren't accepted. Like there's a conflict. Like I don't think that scene like kind of slowing everything down while like everything else is building to kind of like you probably could have just cut that scene because
The fight scene.
no like Bobby and his parents like that like I don't like it was like trying to redrive a message and I'm like you don't need it, it's kind of already there.
Well, it's not the X-Men without their really bad allegory pandering in your face.
But didn't Brian Singer wasn't that like a personal scene for him or something like that?
Did he say that? He has superpowers?
Yes. Super creep.
That's not the
Oh,
allegory,
want to hear a fun
Craig.
fact about Brian Singer? Ever since he got those
Sure.
allegations, he's been hiding in Israel since 2019. So they must be pretty serious allegations to flee the country like Roman Polanski.
Yep, I believe it. Let's not talk about Brian. What else did you not like about the movie?
Well, it's going to lead to my second point, how like the allegory doesn't work, and at the end of the movie, the president's going to give an address on how dangerous mutants are.
Yeah,
And to
that's kind of
show how
weird.
not dangerous they are, Professor X and Storm, like she has this giant, she takes control of the weather. Professor X, you know, pauses everyone's mind. Nightcrawler teleports him into the room and says, "We're not
We're
dangerous,
not
even though we just
threatening
have an
you,
excessive show of force."
even though they are threatening him.
They weren't threatening him, but they gave an excessive show of force. Like, we are incredibly powerful, but we're not threatening you.
Craig, that is a threat.
No, he didn't threaten them. He said, you should try to de-escalate things, but showing up in a an F-35 isn't really going to help send your message.
Yeah, that was a little weird at the end because it is kind of like an indirect threat because they just showed up, Craig, and they were Storm had the lights flashing, the dramatic lightning. They're all standing seriously like they're about to kill him.
Well, that's what I'm saying. Like they weren't giving him like a direct threat, but they were. That's what I'm saying. An excessive show of force, like
Yeah.
just showing up. How they showed up is threatening.
It's not like it was just Xavier that wheeled in and like
Yeah.
Cyclops was pushing him and he had a smile on his
Oh,
face.
oh, woe is me. I'm an old man in the wheelchair. Oh, listen to me. No, it's like
Yeah.
let's show you how powerful. And the fact that Professor X just got off almost killing the entire world.
Yeah, it's true.
I guess not exactly the best time to show up and try to play the peace card.
I think
That's
also
really
oh You go. You go.
Oh, so that's a my point. Like the X-Men are just you can't have your cake and eat it too. It's just not doesn't make sense.
I think my
Yeah.
complaint, as I said earlier, would probably just be mostly that there's too many characters. And again, that's probably always been the main issue with X-Men, that there's just too many characters to highlight and focus on. And that's especially hard when it's a movie, not even like a comic. Because it feels like this movie could have been another 20 minutes longer. And it already is long enough. It is 134 minutes. So it did feel like it could have been a little longer, but maybe it's good that they hastened the pace a little bit.
Would you an Adam
Hasten the
Wingard guy?
pace.
You have to get under 2 hours.
Well, this is over. I mean, no,
Seems,
I think the cut is
seems to be
fine.
paying off on him, Craig.
No, whoa, whoa. No, I said the pace is fine. I'm saying it felt like there was probably 20 minutes longer somewhere in the movie, but like they removed 20 minutes to get this runtime. I think in this case, I wouldn't mind if this movie was a little longer.
All right, you're getting close to Adam Wingard territory. Gotta.
No, I was saying the movie that the pace was fine. It just felt like they cut 20 minutes to get the 134-minute runtime. That's what I was saying.
All right, making sure.
Don't bring up that fool, okay? He has nothing to do with this.
I was gonna say there was one thing I didn't like. I didn't care for too uh, was basically Jean Grey dying. It felt kind of forced.
Yeah, it kind of came up a little bit out of nowhere at the end. And I guess they were hinting obviously at the infamous Dark Phoenix, which Fox has failed miserably twice, as we know.
Well, here's my thought, right?
Hmm.
A giant, flood is coming. Why don't you send the guy who can control water to try to stop it?
Yeah, freeze it.
I don't know. I'm just saying. I mean, I feel like you could have sent that guy to do it. That's all I'm saying. Instead of sending Jean Grey just to go there and die. And the best part too is she could have been saved. Nightcrawler could have teleported, grabbed her, and come back on the plane.
Yeah, I've seen a lot of people say that.
It's again, it's doesn't ruin the movie or anything, but it just feels incredibly forced. Like they wanted to kill her off because they wanted to set up the next movie.
Yeah, I mean, I guess you could say, contrary to Disney Star Wars, at least it seemed like there was some kind of plan they had going on. Like they knew they wanted to do that to introduce the Dark Phoenix.
Yeah, I mean, it could just maybe been written a bit better where she dies in a different way. That's all. Because the way they have it now, it just felt like we knew it was like, okay, you're gonna kill her because she has to die.
Yeah, you could have had Storm with the wind control the water.
I just feel like there were options that no one decided to, go through. Like especially Bobby too. Storm was fixing the jet. I don't know what that means, but Bobby wouldn't fix the jet. He could go and freeze the water.
Yeah, I agree.
'Cause I was just thinking about this. Like, she really didn't have to dive.
And then they have Arnold's Mr. Freeze come up next to him. Let's kill the
Frosty.
dinosaurs! The Ice Age!
And we all clapped because we love Arnold as Mr. Freeze.
Just smokes a cigar and walks off.
Your mic was low there. I didn't hear what you said.
I said he just smokes a cigar and walks off after.
I mean, Wolverine's smoking too, but we can't do it in this movie. Though I don't think we can do it in any more movies. Also, I was going to say, speaking of Fox's terrible, terrible timeline, I know they recasted Kitty Pryde for the second time, but no one cares. Did you
It
catch
had
that
Hank
Beast?
McCoy. Yeah.
Say the Beast cameo where he was not blue, and I
They
think he's gonna
had
be blue.
they also had Remy LeBeau's name in the scene where Mystique impersonates Stryker and is looking through all his little plans.
I think there were a ton of names there. I didn't catch all of them.
I was too lazy to pause it and like go
Yeah, me
back.
too.
But I did see Remy LeBeau stuck out.
I mean, I'm pretty sure we saw and I think I saw Scarlet Witch there, and I think I saw some other person, forgetting their name. It doesn't matter. But I know there's a ton of name drops there.
Child.
Oh, Franklin Richards, that's what it was.
Oh
I just saw
yes, I did
Franklin
see that.
Richards,
Isn't that
which
Kang?
No, that's Reed and
Oh,
Sue's
I
boy.
think
Oh,
he's a reality warper or something like that.
Yeah, he's the child of Reed and Sue.
Yeah.
I feel silly now.
No, no, but Kang is I think Reed's descendant, right? Correct.
Yes, Nathaniel Richards. I think that's
Yes.
Kang's name.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, get it right.
Sorry, I'm not a. I've only read like a handful of comics. Okay,
Yeah, but you played a ton of the games. You remember doing
I
that
do.
trivia, that Marvel trivia with us in
Yeah,
first
Marvel
and
Tin
second Ultimate
Lions too.
Alliance?
Yeah, I remember.
Yeah, did you pick up nothing? Nothing.
Well, did they talk about Nathan or Franklin Richards? Is he mentioned?
I don't think
He
so because
wasn't in the
most of the
games,
games,
obviously.
yeah, most of the games, I think you're assuming that they don't have their kids yet. Yeah, because it
What?
kind of well, it's like Spider-Man. Like why Spider-Man's
I
always in
guess
high school, just kind of how you
uh,
picture them.
another thing didn't like a movie about the movie I know we talked about was just the focus on Bobby and Rogue, like and like the awkwardness, like it's supposed to be played off as funny, like when Logan was like, "Oh, how do you guys?" And Bobby's like, "Oh, we're working." I'm like, "Oh, it's kind of like it's like a parent to a child. That's like weird."
Yeah, why is this 200-year-old man asking that?
Yeah.
Aside from having too many characters in this movie, I cannot forgive the fact that they sidelined Cyclops as bad as they did in this movie. Obviously, in the third one, he's not in the movie for a whole lot, and we'll get to that next week. But there's no excuse of treating Cyclops this bad in this movie. There's no excuse. He's the leader of the X-Men. He wasn't even
Well,
in the first movie a whole lot, and he was done more justice in that than he was in this.
well, that's why I think it's more egregious. It's not just, okay, maybe you could give more time to Storm because she's your favorite, or Iceman, or whoever. I mean, this is the leader of the X-Men. He should be, you know, he's this guy just below Professor X. He should be getting a lot of screen time. He's team leader too. I mean, I don't know. Just it feels crazy that he's not more of a
Was he
focus.
sidelined in the cartoon in the 90s?
I don't
I
think
never watched
so.
that.
I never watched either, but I would have to go with no.
Because it just seems so weird that they decided to sideline him for like I guess you could say dubious reasons like oh Halle Berry won an Oscar because
Well,
people are lining up to see X-Men because of Halle Berry. Like come on. Even at the time. Like come on.
yeah, well, that's when the executives meddle and they get really stupid. Because a lot of people who see these movies, I mean, they're gonna really care. Halle Berry got 5 more minutes of screen time. And let's be honest, people are gonna go see these movies because they like the characters. Especially, that's what we know now. I mean, you could cast anybody as, Shang-Chi, it'll make a decent amount of money.
Will you leave Simu Liu alone?
Never.
You could cast anybody as Storm and they'll still see an X-Men movie.
Oh yeah, they want to see Storm, not Halle Berry.
Who may have won an Academy Award, but she also won Worst Actress from the Razzie, so let's not
Wasn't that for
let's
Catwoman?
I think it's yeah, probably. Let's not pretend that she's some critically acclaimed actress and always has been. Let's not pretend, okay? Fox.
Well, if you don't about them anymore, all the rights are Marvel.
Well, I'm just saying. Just saying.
Just saying. No, I agree. It just and especially the third one where it feels like embarrassing. It's like how much further could we beat him down? I mean, I will say this. I feel like they tried to correct it in the reboot timeline,
Yes, they definitely did.
which I know we're
Took them a
looking
few
ahead, but
took them a few movies, but
which I don't know what number Apocalypse was. Was that like the
It
that
took
was the
it took
that
them
was
a
the third
bunch.
one.
It took them a bunch of movies with they finally I guess you could say was a step in the right direction, but it wasn't even with the original Cyclops actor, so he got nothing out of it.
The best X-Men movie didn't even have Cyclops and Storm got killed.
Yeah. It's
no,
tough
he
being a
actually he wasn't
Cyclops
it.
fans these days. Yeah,
He
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 was at
was
the
in Days
end.
of Future Past, yeah.
He was at the
Oh, they
very,
Oh,
couldn't.
very end.
brief cameo. Brief cameo.
Let's not skip
Was there
ahead too
though?
much. We'll get to that one eventually. Because I feel like once we get to those X-Men movies, the ones that like came out around the MCU, this is
So
like a
what do you?
special time to be talking about the X-Men movies. These are the original ones
It's like a
before
We're
the
time
MCU
we're
came
capsule.
we're
out.
we're skipping timelines.
Well,
Just
yeah,
like
we're
the
crossing over into other
MCU.
universes.
That's right. I wonder which one of us is the anchor character.
It's definitely not me.
So stupid.
So I think it's only appropriate that next week we talk about X-Men: The Last Stand to cap off the original X-Men trilogies. Looking ahead, I don't think we're going to do X-Men Origins Wolverine. I never cared for that movie, and it's been talked to death mainly because of what they did to Deadpool. So we're not even going to talk about that.
Also, the bad CGI.
Are you
Yeah,
sure about that?
I have no interest in talking about that movie.
They
One,
also have
I don't
they
know.
they they also
no,
have
we're not talking
they
about
also
that.
have the Gambit.
No one cares about Gambit.
They call me the
No one
Gambit.
except Channing Tatum apparently.
Was
Well,
there
he
like
was
a
even in that
reason
movie.
that was he like an avid fan of the character? He just thought,
I don't know, and more power to him that he finally got his wish, but I don't know. Because I think after The
oh,
Last Stand, we could start with X-Men First Class, and then I guess we'll finish the mainline X-Men movies.
so was a quick question. So was Deadpool's intro with Backstreet Boys was it Backstreet or NSYNC? Backstreet
NSYNC,
Boys, right?
NSYNC.
NSYNC.
Oh yeah, in this movie, that's right.
This movie, when Pyro went to play it, he's like,
Like
I
bye bye
hate awkward
bye.
silences. Yeah, and it played that song.
Oh, is that the reason?
I don't know.
No. I was asking if that was like a nod to, if that was like a specific nod to the X-Men movie, or if it was just, Ryan Reynolds thought it'd be funny to put that in there.
I'm gonna go on the limb and say that he probably just thought the idea of killing people to bye 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 would be funny. Maybe I don't think it's a reference to this. I'd be really shocked if it is because it's like such. I don't want to say obscure reference, but the song plays for
Yeah,
like three
it is
seconds,
it is such a random
and then he's
reference.
just like, just turn it off. Like to have a whole opening of a movie based off of a reference of another movie that came out 22 years ago or 21 years ago for 5 seconds would be so weird.
Also, it's not like it was an obscure song either. That was a popular
Yeah, it was a
song,
very
right?
popular
Well, yeah, at
song.
the time.
At the time, that's what we used at the time.
Well, it's true. I think the song came
No,
out
no,
like
it's just a joke.
99 or 98.
Well, I mean, also you're talking about like NSYNC at that time was insanely popular. So
Yeah. And
and
plus,
those
when
Well, I
man
Wolverine
thought it was
children.
hears
just
it, he's like, "What is this?" and just shuts it off.
see. I thought Deadpool just wanted to do a silly dance to a silly song.
Well,
Yeah,
because I
that's what
mean,
that's what
yeah, I mean, he was
definitely.
also continuing the trend. Because the was it the second Deadpool he did the James Bond intro.
I don't even think
Oh
it's a
yeah.
trend. It's just more or less, I don't know, the idea of him killing people to bye 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 is funny and desecrating Wolverine's corpse.
I did
Well, he
the
also is saying bye bye to, I guess, the Fox universe. Maybe that's why.
Yeah, that's probably what it is too.
nah, I don't think I think after is this one because this one already broke over 1 billion.
Well, no, he was saying
Oh,
bye 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 to Fox.
like that was Deadpool's like bye 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 to the they're saying bye 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 to Wolverine. I don't know. Maybe I probably there's a good chance we're overthinking it, but
I think yeah.
I do agree with Colin. I don't think they would have it as a reference to this movie.
Just be so insanely stupid.
It's stupid. It just feel very weird. Like why? I don't know. It appeared in 5 seconds. It'd be a very weird callback.
Yeah, I didn't even remember that song
It's
was in the movie
improbable but not
until.
impossible.
That is true.
All right, to get off this weird tangent, I guess let's
If any
summarize our opinions. Put it succinctly, what you thought of X2.
Yeah, we
Greg?
talked pretty negatively, but
No,
I
I
it
don't
is
think
a
we
good.
did. I don't think we did.
I feel like we normally
We
do.
we're just nitpicking at some things.
No, we said in the beginning we liked it.
Yeah.
I don't think we spoke ill of the movie. Craig, what'd you think, real quick? Just summarize your ideas and opinions of X2, X-Men United.
I gotta say the whole title.
I think that's the official title, or is it just X2? I mean, Wikipedia just says X2.
It is
I know, just that's
X2.
what you say. Like you gotta say
X2,
X2, X-Men United.
Also, it was also marketed
As
as,
X2, X-Men
but
United.
internationally it's X-Men 2. So,
That's
All right,
internationally.
all right, whatever. Yeah, it was a good movie. I highly recommend it. It's obviously, it's really that I don't know. At least out of the strictly X-Men movies, I'd probably say it's easily up at the top. I have the spot reserved for another movie, but it's not that hard to figure out what it is.
X-Men Origins.
He got me.
And that's why we're going to talk about it, Colin.
Daniel, what'd you think?
No, I really enjoyed it. Um, I would recommend it too. Just don't go in expecting green screen and big CGI army versus big CGI army. You will be disappointed. Also,
I know
don't
it's
have
everyone wants these days.
also don't expect to hear a single line out of Cyclops.
I liked it too. I think there's something charming about the older superhero movies where they're really tame and there aren't explosions everywhere and aren't quips everywhere. So it's refreshing to see it, and I wish more superhero movies had better scripts like this one. I thought this one had a pretty good script. Everything mostly made sense, and you just don't see that these days, unfortunately.
Well, you say making sense. I mean, their timeline does not make sense. I'm never gonna give them that.
Well,
No,
all
no,
right,
no,
it
no.
made all right in
The
the original
script of the
trilogy.
movie. I said script. I didn't say the universe of X-Men made
Well,
sense.
Craig, to be fair, that issue didn't fall in the first trilogy. The
I'm
first
only so
trilogy.
beast depowered. I'm not so.
All right, well, that's one little thing, but as opposed to what comes after this, the first trilogy with their timeline.
Oh, I mean, it all started with X-Men Origins. They ruined everything.
That's why we have to review it,
We're not
Colin.
going to. So, with that being said, we give the movie a thumbs up. With that being
Are
said,
we Roger Ebert now?
yes, this has been the Unbiased Opinion where everyone's opinion is biased except ours. Colin, no one's going to say anything.
I'll have as many lines as Cyclops. I'm not going to say
Oh,
anything.
okay.
and
All right.
I'm Halle Berry's dialect coach.
Oh my God.